good with y'all boys, man? Hey, we got a new scary video. I haven't done this in like a month or two, but we are back, y'all. We got streamers who captured your final moments live. Now, this caught my eye because I am a streamer myself, and like honestly, like imagine living your final moments on a live stream. That would be insane. So before you watch this video, all right, make sure y'all boys like, subscribe, okay? Be live on Twitch, TV, Doughboy Chris. Link in the description. And yeah, bro, let's get straight into this bitch, man. Let's go!
Parmenov, real name Raphael Gravin, was once the largest French streamer on Kick, as well as the fourth most watched creator on the platform as a whole. Viewers watched for his rage-filled reactions to losing in different games. And while he started off playing video games, he eventually transitioned into doing more IRL streams, many of which included him hanging out with other French streamers. He was on track to becoming even more famous. And with that goal in mind, Jean and his partners announced their biggest project to date in August 2025, a marathon stream. Put simply, they were going to stream every second of their lives for at least 10 days. And things went just as planned at first, with the marathon lasting over 12 days. But just when it seemed like the continuous stream would never end, a single tragedy brought everything to a halt. Just past midnight on August 18th, Jean went to sleep while still on camera. Not long.
Hold on, y'all. Let me try to move my camera. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I'm about to move my camera a lot in this shit, bro, because they keep like moving stuff, and I'm not like, hold on.
Long after that, the stream showed him tossing and turning before calming back down. A few minutes later, a donation alert woke up one of the other streamers, who then tried to get Jean's attention. Jean, however, was completely unresponsive. They quickly ended the stream and rushed Jean to the hospital. Sadly, it was too late.
Wait, what?
46-year-old Jean Parmenov had already passed away in his sleep and was officially pronounced dead at around 4 a.m.
Wait, what?
This was devastating news for the tens of thousands of fans who love tuning into his streams every single day. But as the headlines spread across the internet, more people began looking into the events leading up to the incident. And the disturbing things they discovered made everyone look at it from a different angle.
What do you mean?
Not as an inevitable tragedy, but a preventable homicide. And it all pointed back to the main two individuals Jean was streaming with, Owen and Safine. You see, Jean didn't have the best life before becoming a streamer. He was a military veteran, but due to his deteriorating health, he had trouble finding regular work. This forced him to live with his mother with no outside connections. He began streaming in March 2020 as a way to combat his loneliness and make new friends. However, the clips of his over-the-top yet entertaining reactions to losing went viral on platforms like TikTok, allowing him to
I don't know how, somehow I don't know who this guy is. How have I never heard about this?
As a sizable audience over time. This was a win-win situation for Jean, as he was earning good money while also collaborating with other French creators. And that's where Owen and Safine entered the picture.
So what did
they
these
not
guys
only
do?
began streaming with Jean, but also formed an entire content strategy around making him angry and recording his reactions.
Now,
it can be argued that, at least by this point, Jean was in on the scheme. He knew the audience wanted to see him burst out in entertaining ways and leaned more into that character. However, things took a darker turn once he moved in with the two to make IRL content. As people were going—
I'm not gonna lie, this is why you should never let nobody use you, right? They use them, right? Because they knew that that's what got them views, bro. Just be careful, bro. Don't let people use you, bro. If you let people use you, it's not a good outcome, right? That's all I gotta say.
Through his old streams and videos after his death, they discovered hundreds, if not thousands of instances of Owen and Safine getting physical with Jean. And it wasn't something lighthearted and fun. Now, I can't show the vast majority of these instances or describe what happened in them on YouTube due to just how graphic and abusive they are. All I can say is that Owen and Safine's harassment included everything from rather harmless stunts like breaking an egg on his head to acts that could be potentially life-threatening. This type of behavior was a consistent part of their streams, where they essentially treated Jean as a living punching bag. And the marathon stream was also more of the same, with everything tuned to the max to increase shock value and by extension their viewership.
So pretty much he was just a friend of the group that they just made fun of.
Tragically passed away on stream. Many on the internet pointed fingers at the two behind it all, Owen and Safine.
But how exactly did he die in his sleep, and how that
structure was made significantly worse by the constant stress he was under from the two. Worst of all, they seemed like they were well aware of this, as just days before his end, they made Jean declare on stream that if anything were to happen to him, it wasn't their fault.
Wait, what do you mean?
Alors que non, à moins qu'il se fasse caméra là maintenant, que si demain il meurt en live stream, c'est dur de shitty health and not our fault. Qu'il fasse caméra, que si demain tu meurs sur scène, c'est dû. Oui, comme Dalida a dit.
Wait, hold on. So they made this guy say that if he ever dies on stream, that it's not their fault? Bro, what? Yo, that's what I'm saying, bro. You cannot trust nobody, man. Even the people who seem to be your friends aren't really your friends, bro.
Quelque chose en live.
Just like this guy.
It's
weird.
The online backlash also sparked an investigation into Jean's death. According to Owen's lawyer, everything they did to Jean on stream was consensual and nothing more than an act for the sake of entertainment, stating, "There were things that were scripted, there was improvisation, there were shots that were simulated. What you see on the screen is not the reality of what was being experienced." The autopsy report also concluded that the cause of Jean's death was his own poor health and that there was no foul play. But in the eyes of the thousands following this case, his health only deteriorated to this point because of how the other two treated him over the past 3 years. That said, the investigation is still ongoing, and for now, it's unclear how it will end.
Yeah, those guys should be in jail, bro. They pretty much took this guy's life, bro. It's not funny.
Valeria Marquez was a 23-year-old Mexican model, businesswoman, and digital creator from Jalisco, Mexico.
Okay.
She showed interest in the world of beauty and fashion from an early age.
Well, I think I've seen him. I think I've seen him.
Dream managed to receive the title of Miss Rostro in 2021.
Okay.
The fame from this title allowed her to open her own salon named Blossom.
Oh yeah, I remember this. My mama
showed me her online career on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. In addition to posting her latest modeling photos, she also streamed on these platforms almost every day from her salon to share beauty and fashion with her viewers. Things were looking good for Valeria. She amassed over 320,000 followers across both platforms, with her eyes set on even bigger goals. However, before Valeria could realize these dreams, her life was cut short in an incident she had no way of anticipating.
Yeah, they shot her on live. I remember my mom showed me this one day.
She went live on TikTok as usual. But just as she was about to start talking about new fashion and beauty tips, she was interrupted by a delivery. Someone had apparently sent her a stuffed animal as a gift. She returned in front of the camera to show it off, but was interrupted once again by the delivery driver asking her to confirm her name. She then muted the stream to talk to the delivery driver, but as soon as she did, the guy pulled out a firearm and fired multiple shots at Valeria. By the time medics arrived, Valeria had already passed away. The killer had also fled the scene without a trace. The only clue police had to identify him was a single second of their voice that was broadcast live through Valeria's stream.
Wait, hold on. So you telling me that this man shot this girl on live and then ran away and they without a trace of this man, like just like that. But why would they want to kill her though? What did she do? Like, was she involved with bad people or what?
Unfortunately, that hasn't been very useful.
What?
Police still haven't identified the perpetrator at the time of writing. That said, people on the internet have come up with a number of theories trying to crack this case.
That makes no sense though.
The most prominent suspect in these theories is a man named Ruiz Velasco, who is a high-ranking member of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel.
Yeah.
He was apparently in a romantic relationship with Valeria when the incident occurred, which could explain a potential motive. Some people also noted that soon after the shooting, a girl who worked at the salon picked up Valeria's phone to end the stream. This was highly unusual behavior for someone who had just witnessed her boss and possibly a friend become the victim.
So she just ended the stream too, bro. Another fucking occasion of don't trust everybody, bro. Another occasion, bro. She went and got the phone and ended the live and shit, and she didn't even look fucking scared. Man, hold on, bro. Let's rewind that thing, bro.
A girl who worked at the salon.
Man, look at it. Man, she ain't scared, man. Man, bro, look at her. Bro, she is not scared.
Valeria's phone to end the stream. This was highly
don't
unusual
trust everybody, please, bro. Not everybody's your friend, bro. I'm gonna keep saying this
become the victim
every time something like this shows up.
Where instead of calling an ambulance or police right away, her first instinct was to turn off the live stream.
I'm saying, bro, you're supposed to say fuck that live stream, bro. Call the fucking police, bro. She can use her phone and call up the police and the fucking the doctor, whatever, medic, whatever. She doesn't have to go end the live, bro.
Behavior has led many on the internet to point her out as a possible accomplice of the killer.
Definitely.
That said, there isn't any evidence to confirm or deny these theories for now.
Nah, she definitely is. I don't care.
Haven't made much progress either, leaving Valeria's case unsolved for the foreseeable future.
But that's sad, bro. At the end of the day, nobody actually knows why they killed her. Like, they just killed her. They really just did that? That's it? Nobody knows why. That's actually insane, bro. Real shit.
Brian Vignault, also known as Pashibrid, was a decently popular World of Tanks streamer with over 7,000 subscribers. He started streaming back in 2012 and slowly built a loyal following for himself. The thing his viewers loved most about Brian was his consistency. He streamed multiple times each week without taking any breaks, with many of these streams reaching double-digit hours. In addition to being a dependable streamer, Brian was also extremely charitable at heart. He raised over $11,000 in charity over the years for veterans and notable organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Okay.
On the night of February 19, 2017, he was doing another one of his charity streams for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now, usually when streamers do charity streams, they set certain incentives, like shaving or dyeing their hair at certain milestones. Brian, however, took a different approach and promised a continuous 24-hour stream to his audience instead. The plan worked as expected, allowing him to gather over $2,400 from his audience by the 20-hour mark. He also pledged to donate $500 of his own money in addition to all the donations. However, just as the long stream was about to end, something happened that no one could have anticipated. At around the 22-hour mark, Brian stepped away from the camera for a short smoke break, but he never came back. His audience, however, wasn't worried one bit. You see, Brian had already done multiple nearly 20-hour streams that week and was running on fumes during the charity stream. He was constantly dozing off and jolting awake as the 24-hour mark got closer. He was also just 35 years old and had no major medical issues. So when he left the stream and never returned, most assumed that he'd likely just fallen asleep. Sadly, that couldn't have been further from the truth. The reality of what happened to Brian came out a day later when one of his moderators saw that he was active on Discord. They sent him a message asking about the end of the charity stream and if he was okay. But the person who replied from his account wasn't Brian.
What do you mean?
As it turned out, seconds after getting off camera, Brian collapsed and never woke up again. He was rushed to the hospital, but sadly did not survive. The person who responded to the moderator was a detective, combing through Brian's messages in hopes of finding a clue about his otherwise mysterious death, though the reason was fairly obvious.
So he pretty much died because he was doing a 24-hour. I ain't gonna lie, that is real dedication, bro. I ain't gonna lie, fuck that, man. That is some dedication. This man died doing a 24-hour stream, bro. He was half asleep, pretty much dying, bro. Going through a 24-hour stream. He died for the stream. And mind you, this is not even because he was doing drugs. He was doing no drugs or nothing, bro. It was literally because he wasn't getting sleep. He was grinding. Respect to him, bro. Damn, bro. R.I.P. this guy, man. Rest in peace, bro. Honestly, bro. He's a fucking grinder, bro.
Obvious to some of his fans.
Damn,
but simply, Brian's death was likely the result of days of exhaustion and lack of sleep. Usually, someone this tired would fall asleep automatically, waking only after their body had gotten the rest it needed. But in rare cases, like for Brian, the fatigue could prove fatal and strike seemingly out of nowhere. The only silver lining in Brian's tragic end was that his fans banded together and raised over 19,000 Canadian dollars for his wife and 3 young children. And while no amount of money can replace the presence of a father, this sum likely helped his family during their greatest time of need.
R.I.P. him, man. Honestly, rest in peace, bro. Damn, bro.
On August 31st, 2020, Ronald McNutt, better known as Ronnie, went live on Facebook. He streamed on the platform quite often, and even had a small but dedicated fan base. These streams usually covered topics like comics, movies, and other pop culture stuff, as Ronnie had been a big fan of superhero media since childhood. And this stream looked no different at first glance. What none of the viewers tuning into this particular stream knew, however, was that they were about to become witnesses to a horrific tragedy. And while the incident itself seemingly came out of nowhere, the path leading up to it did not. Ronnie was born on May 23, 1987 in New Albany, Mississippi, and had a fairly ordinary childhood. Growing up, he had a normal school and social life, and like many other teenagers of that era, developed an interest in comic books as well. However, things changed when he decided to join the army in the mid-2000s. And after finishing his training, went on to serve the US in the Iraq War in 2007 and 2008. The war unfortunately took its toll on Ronnie. He developed severe post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, from the atrocities he witnessed during deployment, and became a fundamentally different person.
Yeah, bro, that's why I never would want to ever, like, be a part of something like that, man.
Close friend Josh Steen later described, "He didn't seem to be the same guy that left for Iraq once he exited the service. I spent many a late night in our studio via text message and in person talking with him about life and his struggles." However, despite suffering from PTSD and depression, Ronnie tried his best to be the jolly guy he always was. He also spent much of his time raising awareness about the issue and trying to help other veterans who'd gone through the same experience as him. And when he wasn't advocating for veterans' mental health, he was working hard to get his life back in order, starting with getting a job in the local Toyota factory and also starting a relationship. His streams on Facebook, as well as his Just Us Geeks podcast with Josh, were also a part of his plan to regain some semblance of normalcy. The goal was to rekindle the love for superhero media he had before his military deployment. Fortunately, these efforts paid off, as Ronnie managed to settle into a fairly normal life over the next decade.
Okay.
At least, that's what it looked like on the surface. You see, according to those closest to him, Ronnie never received any professional help for his psychological struggles. To him, toughing it out was the best way forward. Sadly, there's only so much pressure the human mind can bear before it reaches complete hopelessness. For Ronnie, things began spiraling in August 2020. It started with him posting about missing his father on what would have been his 69th birthday on August 14th. Sadly, his father had passed away back in 2018. A few days later, he was fired from his job due to the pandemic. And if that wasn't bad enough, his girlfriend also broke up with him not long after. Ronnie might have been able to endure each of these incidents on its own, but facing them all at once proved too much to bear, resulting in him making the tragic, irreversible decision to end it all. On the 31st of August, he went live on Facebook with a firearm by his side. His friend John was one of the early viewers and quickly realized what was going on. He immediately called the police and also rushed over to Ronnie's house. In the meantime, he also contacted Facebook, hoping to get the live stream taken down before anything happened. Facebook, however, refused to take the stream down, stating that it did not violate any of their policies. Josh also tried to call Ronnie himself, but he did not answer. A few minutes later, Ronnie received a call from his ex-girlfriend, who was likely prompted by others to reach out. Sadly, this call led to a brief argument between the two, resulting in Ronnie saying his final words. The cops were already outside, preparing to speak to Ronnie through a megaphone. Unfortunately, neither they nor Josh was able to reach him in time. The stream also kept going for minutes afterward, giving people plenty of time to record and spread the aftermath of the incident across the internet. Platforms like Facebook and TikTok came under fire for not controlling the spread of the footage in time. Though, as more people became aware of Ronnie, looked him up online, and reached his Facebook profile, they were greeted with his somber final words in a final post reading, "Someone in your life needs to hear that they matter, that they are loved, that they have a future. Be the one to tell them."
Listen, worry about your mental health. As y'all can see, this guy right here, he killed himself because he couldn't bear the pain anymore. Everybody has mental health problems. Just because you have one doesn't make you a pussy or whatever. Like, everybody can have it, bro. And just worry about your mental health, right? If it's bad, if it's good, it's good. But if it's bad, hey, take care of it, bro. It's important because your mental is very important for you to live your life, bro. It really is. All right? But yeah, hope y'all boys fuck with this video. Make sure y'all boys like, subscribe. I'm gonna catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace out.